I tell you, that's an issue you get throughout New Orleans pronunciations. Lafcadio Hearn wrote an essay about this 100 years ago, talking about some of our pronunciations being more akin to the Greek and not necessarily pure French. And I've heard Treme pronounced a couple of different ways. A lot of folks from the area call it Treme. Glenn David Andrews calls it Treme sometimes. If you look at Claude Treme's graveyard, his grave poster, it is an accent on both of the E's, which would mean in French it would be pronounced Treme. Most of the time, these days, it's written with only an accent over the second E, pronounced Treme. But think, for example, about the name of our city itself. The tourists are famous for wanting to call it New Orleans and spell it A-W-L-I-N-S. And there are a fair amount of people who pronounce it that way. But we also pronounce it New Orleans and New Orleans and New Orleans. And also there's some uptown ladies who pronounce it New Orleans.
Right.
So, the problem is that if people were here listening to folks on the street make these changes in pronunciations, there'd be a sort of allowance for the fact that different people with different experiences pronounce things differently. There's almost an assumption that a show should be uniform, but man, part of the beauty of the show is that as best we can, we're trying to capture life as it is lived on the streets here and not attempting to beat it into some kind of uniform shape. So that's the best explanation I can give you. The Mardi Gras Mambo, a song that the Hawkettes did when Art Neville was with them. And down in New Orleans where the blues is born, it takes a cool cat to blow a horn on LaSalle and Rampart Street. The Mambo, the bands all play with a Mambo beat. Mardi Gras Mambo, 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 down in New Orleans. Well, at first it was down in New Orleans where the blues was born. Mardi Gras Mambo down in New Orleans. That's within one song. So man, if the performers on one tune can't agree on one date how the city's supposed to be pronounced, then certainly we can be permitted in the stretch of a whole TV show to get a neighborhood different.